Nacho, 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 nacho.
If you ain't angry about oppression, if you ain't angry about 400 years of getting killed, that don't make you fucking question. If you ain't angry about no justice, if you ain't tired of seeing your people suffering with no power to do nothing. Brother got his head cut off down in Mississippi. Another brother got choked out just for fucking pissing. You niggas need to listen. I just showed y'all the vision from past to present, and we still in the same condition. I blame the white man, but I blame you coons too. Steve Harvey, bitch ass, and his whole morning crew. What about Wycliffe with the hated just to help? Cherry my ass, nigga, you left with all the damn loot. Nigga, you Haitian too. That 16 million you took was water and food. You cock outside of Lugaou. Now you niggas see. Tell them cheap suck G. Don't never ask me why I'm motherfucking angry. Even though they holding hands, claiming to be best friends, they still hate you in the end. Angry black man. I ain't dying for no white man fighting in Afghanistan, so fuck being a veteran. Angry black man. Fuck your wives, fuck your kids, and fuck your men, and fuck trying to be American. Angry black man. I ain't talking to myself, I'm praying for revenge, so until that day you won't see a grin. Angry black man. Bumba Clyde, Ross Clyde, Batty Boy, Pussy Hole, they will go on lightning and thunder. Babylon, Fireburn, Babylon, Mineral, Fussy Hole, me when no ramper. Fuck peace. I won't smile to make you feel at ease, and I won't sound like you to make you hire me, and I won't bow down, I'd rather die free. Angry black man is immune to John 3:16. So boots, beards, braids, check. Angry black men threat. They rather see you in a dress, so you can't defend yourself. 400 years, 400 tears, 400 rape, 400 kill, 400 blood, 400 spill, 400 live, 400 real, 400 watch, 400 film, 400 raw, 400 steal, 400 years of dealing with your crimes. Your end is nil, so we supposed to stay quiet while y'all bust our heads open wide. You motherfuckers out your damn minds. The Bible told me the white man is the problem. God ain't never lied. Every iota of a crock. Even though they holding hands, claiming to be best friends, they still hate you in the end. Angry black man. I ain't dying for no white man fighting in Afghanistan, so fuck being a veteran. Angry black man. Fuck your wives, fuck your kids, and fuck your men, and fuck trying to be American. Angry black man. I ain't talking to myself, I'm praying for revenge, so until that day you won't see a grin. Angry black man.
Nacho, 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 nacho.
If you ain't angry about oppression, if you ain't angry about 400 years of getting killed, that don't make you fucking question. If you ain't angry about no justice, if you ain't tired of seeing your people suffering with no power to do nothing. Brother got his head cut off down in Mississippi. Another brother got choked out just for fucking pissing. You niggas need to listen. I just showed y'all the vision from past to present, and we still in the same condition. I blame the white man, but I blame you coons too. Steve Harvey, bitch ass, and his whole morning crew. What about Wycliffe with the hated just to help? Cherry my ass, nigga, you left with all the damn loot. Nigga, you Haitian too. That 16 million you took was water and food. You cock outside of Lugaou. Now you niggas see. Tell them cheap suck G. Don't never ask me why I'm motherfucking angry. Even though they holding hands, claiming to be best friends, they still hate you in the end. Angry black man. I ain't dying for no white man fighting in Afghanistan, so fuck being a veteran. Angry black man. Fuck your wives, fuck your kids, and fuck your men, and fuck trying to be American. Angry black man. I ain't talking to myself, I'm praying for revenge, so until that day you won't see a grin. Angry black man. Bumba Clyde, Ross Clyde, Batty Boy, Pussy Hole, they will go on lightning and thunder. Babylon, Fire burn Babylon, me no run. Fussy hold me when no ramper. Fuck peace. I won't smile to make you feel at ease. And I won't sound like you to make you hire me. And I won't bow down, I'd rather die free. Angry black man is immune to John 3:16. So boots, beards, braids, check. Angry black men threat. They rather see you in a dress. So you can't defend yourself. 400 years, 400 tears, 400 rape, 400 kill, 400 blood, 400 spill, 400 live, 400 real, 400 watch, 400 film, 400 raw, 400 steal, 400 years of dealing with your crimes. Your end is nil. So we supposed to stay quiet while y'all bust our heads open wide. You motherfuckers out your damn minds. The Bible told me the white man is the problem. God ain't never lied. Every iota of a crop, even though they holding hands, claiming to be best friends, they still hate you in the end. Angry black man. I ain't dying for no white man fighting in Afghanistan, so fuck being the veteran. Angry black man. Fuck your wives, fuck your kids, and fuck your men, and fuck trying to be American. Angry black man. I ain't talking to myself, I'm praying for revenge, so until that day you won't see a grin. Angry black man.
In this time of the pandemic, where COVID-19 has crippled the world economies, where our government has ordered nationwide shutdown, where hospitals are overwhelmed.
Shortly after, the unthinkable happened.
I was literally stunned and frozen.
And their religious leaders are proven to be frauds. Where do you go to get all your questions answered and to hear what God has to say about this matter? You can only find the answers in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commanding General YAHANNA. We give you scriptural breakdowns of world events and the up and coming world war. We will show you in the Bible where the children of Israel, who are the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans today, would suffer slavery in Jamaica, Caribbean, North, Central, and South America, and other parts of the world. We will show you in the Bible where God said he would send plagues upon the earth before he frees people from this captivity.
The World Health Organization has declared coronavirus a global pandemic.
We will give you the true teaching of the Bible, precept upon precept. To learn more, subscribe today and call the number in the description for I.S.U.P.K. Jamaica. Shalom.
Shalom, Hebrew. Yeah, check me. I found him. We call him up later. No, man, later. Check me later. Class start. Hold on. All right. Yeah,
This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, and is run today by Commanding General YAHANNA, the man with the rank and the authority to be the leader of the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans at this time. I want to say Yahweh Basham Yahweh Barakatah to the brothers, Yahweh Shamar Islet and Basham Yahweh to the sisters. Welcome to our Sunday evening law class. Scripture breakdown class. Right. What's happening in the scriptures and the world now? This man called Putin, the Russian leader, still on the go. Remember before the Passover. Also, we just celebrated our Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread. This is a celebration that all Israelites should be doing. Right. All the seed of Jacob, all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans should have been celebrating the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread and not Easter. Now, in the church, they tell you about Easter and Palm Sunday. I think this Sunday will be Palm Sunday. Not knowing that this celebration of with the branches of goodly trees and so on was the Feast of Unleavened Bread. That's how they celebrate the Feast of Unleavened Bread, with the branches of palm trees and so, and branches of goodly trees. And when Christ, so what Christ was actually doing, Christ wasn't celebrating no Easter. When you're celebrating the Palm Sunday, Christ was celebrating the Feast of Unleavened Bread. He was riding into Jerusalem to close on the closing of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, because on that day, you will be having what? A holy convocation. So people will be coming in. And he rode in, not to go and eat bun and cheese, but to celebrate the closing of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And we just have our glorious, or Kaba one Passover. Each year it gets more and more glorious. All right. So back to what we were talking about now. Putin. So the Russian president him just test a missile which is actually the second version of himself. Right. Why you as a man feel that you should have the power to stay at one point and hit anywhere in the world? Right. You have to be a devil to think that, man. Yeah. Before now, up until now, I've never heard any Israelite in power wanting such power. I've never, which other nation ever you ever try to achieve something like that? Only the public enemy number one man. Only Esau would want to have such. And guess what? It can carry 10 or more warheads, and it's nuclear capable. So you can put 10 or more nuclear warheads on it, which means it's a vehicle, actually, which is going to fly through, hit several places, and then detonate itself in a final target. It's only Esau generation would think of something like that. All right, welcome to our online viewers. Yeah, bless up daily. Juna Daily, bless up. First thing I want to do, I'm playing one video. Which video is it again? Right, that video. But in the meantime, until I find the video, you know that tensions in the Middle East also rising. How many places in the world right now having military conflict?
Military conflict. You have Ukraine.
You have the war in Ukraine. Right.
You can call the one in Israel.
That's a military conflict, of course. And then Israeli Air Force has strike Hamas, you know.
All right. The Ethiopian one kind of eased down.
Kind of eased down, right? There was Yemen. There's a tension, strong tension in Yemen. And now they are saying that what do you call it? Right, they're saying that Putin probably end up in Moldova next. That's what the critics are saying. I don't know, maybe we should listen to the critics, because it was the same critics who were saying Russia is going to invade and Zelensky and the Ukrainians. No, man, he always play with his toys on our borders. He's always toy playing on our border. You know, he brings out his toys and he exercises them and he fit them up like a Lego toy. And then he pulls them down and he goes back home. And America keeps saying, Russia is going to invade. Right. So maybe this time, when the Americans and the critics are saying he's going to invade Moldova, maybe they're right. All right, listen to this one now.
Russia has tested a new nuclear-capable missile. It is called the Saturn II. Moscow claims this missile can hit targets anywhere in the world, even the North and South Pole. The missile can also evade defense systems. Vladimir.
Now, firstly, what is up by North Pole that you would want a missile can hit? Then again, you know, maybe something is there that we don't know about. Right. It could be that something is up there that we, the ordinary people, doesn't know about, because we know that America have, I think they have the West have a military base there, North and South Pole. Probably they have nuclear weapons there, ready to be deployed, not for the purpose of attack, but it could be for purpose of retaliation. Because in the nuclear, all right, whether you talk about mutually assured destruction, what they mean is that if you strike my country as a nuclear capable country with nuclear weapons, the man who made the first strike with the nuclear weapon, he have the biggest advantage. So the mutually assured destruction now is where is that they put in place a secondary. So the primary thing is the attack. The secondary thing is the defense. So after you attack and you mash me up, something is going to trigger some nuclear bombs to go back to where you right. So those bombs might not be on the mainland of the country that you attack. So it's possible that the West do have nuclear weapons in the North Pole or the South Pole as retaliatory or mutually assured destruction formation. So when him say it can hit even the North Pole, to you and I, the mind that is not within their military, we say, why need to lick the North Pole? But him probably know why him need to have a missile that can strike the North Pole. Because NATO is no joke. NATO is a gang of 30. 30 is not the 30 most powerful nations, but NATO has maybe the top 5 most outside of Russia, most powerful nations in the world. But one thing for sure, it has the most powerful nation in the world, which is the hammer of the world, which is the United States of America. Them is the head of NATO. So the other 29, and then there is UK. UK is not a toy, it's not a baby. All right. UK also have nuclear weapons, they have serious weapons. So they are able to back up America. France is able to back up America. Germany wasn't so much on the powerful military side, but they put in what they put fine again, $100 billion to spend on their military. Right, they have a huge amount of money to spend on their military. So NATO is actually growing in terms of strength and unity and power. But that unity is going to break, and it should break. And I can tell you, NATO should be dismantled. Why am I saying NATO should be dismantled? You have a gang of 30, and yet still you have one man come right on your doorstep and is able to hold you at bay. That one man is able to hold you hostage on your doorstep. So what's the sense in you having that gang of 30? It's only to defend the 30 of you. That's one point. The second point is, other countries in the world, if they should become, which is not a part of the gang of 30, if they should be invaded by this one man or one country that is holding you gang of 30 hostage, you're still not going, if you're not defending Europe, you ain't going to defend Jamaica, you ain't going to defend Cuba, you ain't going to defend Venezuela, you ain't going to defend Syria, right? You're not going to defend. The only country you might risk to defend is the Israelis. You might take a risk there. But let's say Russia goes into Moldova next. The gang of 30 not going to defend it. Right? But these countries are members of the United Nations. What we should have is not a NATO gang, it's a United Nations gang. So all countries within the United Nations should be assured in terms of their what do I say, safety, in terms of their being protected from other military countries.
What is the purpose of the United Nations?
What is the purpose of the United Nations then? Right? That one man who is not in the gang of 30 is still a member of the G8, still a member of the G20, still a member of the United Nations. He can decide to come and invade Jamaica, you know? And who is going to defend Jamaica? If Russia decide that they're going to invade Jamaica and America say, I'm going to defend Jamaica, that is World War III too. So if they did not starting World War III for Europe, they're not going to risk it for Jamaica. So you get me? So NATO should be dismantled. And the rest of the world should, including our Prime Minister here, we should call for the dismantling of NATO. Why? Europe is the only place in the world? Isn't there other countries in the world who need defending? I'm not defending Ukraine, you know, as far as me concerned, and Ukraine is stupid, you know. Because you were the fourth, you know, after the Soviet Union fell, Ukraine became the fourth most nuclear powerful country. they fall to number 4 to the amount of nuclear weapons they have. America and UK, who are NATO members, encourage Ukraine to give up their nuclear weapon. And they didn't give it to any NATO country. They gave it to Russia, making Russia the largest nuclear powerful country in the world with 45% of the nuclear. You can't doubt me, only one. Google it. With 45% of the world's nuclear power. So why would 2 NATO countries give Russia more nuclear weapons than them? What it means then is that NATO, the other 55% of nuclear weapons in the world, now shares between America, China, UK, France, India, Pakistan. They are the countries that have it. Right? So, I mean, the troublemaker here is NATO. NATO is not the protector of this world. NATO is a troublemaker. NATO is the one who started, and the worst thing about it, you know, this war is now affecting the world. We didn't know that Ukraine produced so much grain, so much of the world's steel between Ukraine and Russia. They produce more than a third of the world's grains. So when the Bible speaks of famine in this time, now we're beginning to see why you would really have famine, because now Ukraine's production, whatever production they have in terms of steel, grains, now down to 0. How long would it take? Let's say Russia take over Ukraine. How long will it take to get all these production back online? Gonna take a couple of years. How long can you bear the hungry? You can be hungry a couple of years till it come back online. I don't think any human, we can barely bear hungry. But you know, as a human being, they say, for you to stay healthy, you need breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 3 meals a day. Which means by you eat your breakfast, by lunchtime, you start getting hungry. But let's say you're able to skip lunch. You have a breakfast, you go down to your dinner. Can you do the same thing the next day, and the next day, and the next day, until all these production come back on stream? NATO is a troublemaker. It's not Russia. You are the ones who bolster Russia. Yeah. When communists fell, Russia, in terms of countries being capable to defend themselves, Russia fall way below 10. You help them to build. Who bought Russian oil so that they can be rebuilt? Right. Who stopped buying Jamaica banana and sugar? Yeah, CM Europe. So we who have no nuclear, no threat to nobody in the world, not even a threat to our own self. Right? Because them bad boys who you say in Jamaica, there is no threat to the government, and the government know that. That's why they are existing. You know? If there are a real threat to the government, it's the same like how they lock down the country for COVID. They would lock it down for the badness. Trust me. You can trust me on that one. So we were a threat to nobody. The only threat is to each other. Right? When you start buying our produce so that our economy do not grow, you went and you bought Russia's produce so that Russia can come back. And now you're calling for Russian aggression, boycott Russia this, Russia that. And the worst thing, Russia has gotten richer since the war. I mean, then I say oil price gone up.
Oh, God, yeah. God.
And not only that, the agreement, payment agreement that they had to buy Russian oil, you know, give them leeway of, you could wait a couple of weeks or maybe even a month before you pay them. Now they are paying daily. Yes, over $1 billion a day in total. They are paying daily now. So as they've to how much Putin have them hostage, they are paying up. Because Putin said, this thing ain't for free. I'm going to turn off my island gas if you don't pay me. And now him test missiles and all this. So, in other words, why would I, if I'm a real gangster, because NATO is a gang, but you're a gang which know nothing about gangster, being a gangster. You only know if you lock back and if someone is attacking. But when it comes to strategy, you think you're smart. Because, of course, you think that, okay, we can play Ukraine against Russia and let Ukraine take them out. But remember, it was you who built Russia. It was America and the UK who encouraged Ukraine to give their nuclear weapons to Russia. It might just be that Russia used it on you, NATO. And then they're going to be, oh, gosh, I made a mistake. Of course, they did make a mistake.
Putin says this new weapon will make Russia's enemies think twice. Is Russia's new weapon a serious threat for the West?
All right. You know what I'm saying? This is going to make think twice.
Here's a detailed report.
Amid the conflict in Ukraine, a missile took off in northwest Russia. Vladimir Putin says that the new Russian weapon will make enemies think twice.
This truly unique weapon will strengthen the combat potential of our armed forces, reliably ensure the security of Russia from external threats, and make those who in the heat of aggressive rhetoric try to threaten our country.
Make those who in the heat of aggressive rhetoric try to threaten Russia. So Russia, under Putin's hand, Russia moved from, I think they referred to something like 13th. The 13th countries, list of countries who are capable of defending themselves. Russia fell to about 13, right? America still was up there at number 1. The West rose Russia from 13 to about something like 5th, less than 10 years under Putin's hand. You hear what him saying now? This missiles, this ICBM, which they have been working on for 20 odd years now, should be able to make those are you talking things that I don't like. And of course, I'm talking NATO. And I'm not talking Jamaica. I'm talking NATO. Will make you all think twice before you attack Russia. So in other words, if there was no NATO, you might not have a Russia being as aggressive as they are. They are as aggressive as they are because of NATO, the presence of NATO. In other words, bad man for my doorstep. Me have to ramp up my arms. And moreover, the West and NATO is pushing some things which Russia not into, like the LGBT. And these men are serious about this LGBT. And during the wars, this war that they are fighting, they're also purging the land. And I don't mean that they're indirectly doing it, but they are directly purging out LGBT people out of the land. Yeah, you see you on the street, you're getting shot. So a lot of those persons who get shot, who knows? They look too feminine, clap you. The civilian casualties could have been person who displayed that kind of behavior, because Ukraine was now getting into that kind of thing because of the West.
And their own president is one of them.
No. This, you remember when, I think it was the Donbass region, one of the regions where he had gotten some, I think it was Syrian fighters to come in to fight. And I said, Putin calling him attack dog. So one of the most serious ally that. Well, he brought him into Ukraine and they were giving you the rundown of the things he did. That man directly fight against homosexuality and LGBT kind of people. So that's true. It's really a war kind of on two fronts. There's a military side to it, which is military economic, and there's a social side to it, purging out LGBT kind of behavior. Who is cause? Who caused all that? It's the same NATO. NATO should be dismantled.
Think twice.
Пытается угрожать нашей стране.
So what is this new weapon? It is called the RS-28 SAMAT. This is an intercontinental missile, or ICBM. The NATO calls it the Satan II. Russia claims that...
So it's NATO nickname it, you know, Satan 2. So there is, yeah. You remember the show with Thing 1 and Thing 2? But you know what show? I saw go. Well, it's one of them Disney movie. It's a comedy kind of show.
Russia have a missile with them called
Satan. Yes. So this now, NATO is nicknaming it Satan 2, which is really just a second version of Putin. Because I don't see who else could be so powerful as to hold the 30 most, the baddest gang in the world at bay. Because right now the baddest gang in the world is NATO. You know? Think of something like this in Jamaica. That one man take on a 30 man. Who you think gonna get the praise?
One man.
It's the one man gonna get the praise, man. As far as the rest, everybody is concerned, the 30 men is puss, a punk. Punk them. right, that's it. I beat them. Right? Punks, man.
that this missile can fly over the North or the South Pole and strike targets anywhere in the world.
Right. So he mentioned that the North or the South Pole, and he directly mentioned that because obviously he knows that they have military bases there. Right.
The missile has a range of 11 to 18,000 kilometers and it can carry 10 or more warheads. This includes nuclear bombs. It was widely known that Russia was developing a new ICBM to replace older ones. The weapon will be tested 5 more times this year before it is inducted into the Russian military. Reports say that Russia began developing the SAMAT more than a decade ago. The weapon launches just like a conventional rocket, but it is considered to be much more powerful. An ICBM can target several sites over a large geographical area. Once these warheads on it are released, they fall at speeds of about 7 kilometers per second. The SAMAT, however, could be more dangerous. In theory, it could evade missile detection systems. But Russia's...
So you see how powerful it be. It can even evade missile detection systems.
So basically, this is the Satan 1 with the hypersonic capability.
Yeah, that's I.S.U.P.K Satan. And it becomes Satan 2.
Arch enemy, the United States, is not worried about these tests.
The defense...
America trying to play it down. We're not worried about that test, you know. I mean, he might have it, yes, but we're still buying their oil. They're not going to shoot us.
Department said today that we did not deem the test a threat to the United States or its allies, and the timing and the scope of Russia's missile tests do not influence our approach to countering Russia's further invasion of Ukraine. So it was noticed through the proper process, and the Department of Defense has spoken to this as well.
Washington is playing down the Russian missile test, but Vladimir Putin seems to have achieved his objective. Once again, he has reminded the world about Russia's military power.
We are now away.
Right, he has reminded the world about the Russian military power, which is so true. All right, give me Ezekiel 38.
God.
Why is it that we here in Jamaica is spending time to talk about something as a country way more powerful than us? Why are we spending time to talk about that? Because it's prophecy, biblical prophecy, and this is, the West and the rest of the world might see this as Russian aggression, but trust me, we here in the truth see this as what? Israelite freedom. And we have no qualms in saying that. This is Israelite freedom, right? right, Jonah? Famine coming, all prices are up. This one war, even since COVID, Africa had several coups, 5 being successful. There is this war in Yemen, and none of these affected world prices in prices of commodities in the world. But this war in Ukraine, this is I would say divisive, decisive, right? And this is how device. When a divisive, that's what I mean. It's dividing this world. There's a divisive war. And there was no other war, not even the war with Israel and Hamas. Right? Now, Russia can march in army in a Palestine if he so choose, you know. Because remember, he was given the autonomy to use force abroad, anywhere in the world. So if when he finished down there, he feels to go and say, yeah, well, we're going back Palestine, he can. He just might. What's there to stop it? Nothing. Because as far as we're concerned now, NATO has just proven how much of a wuss they are. How much of a teethless barking dog they are. Right? Bait. NATO are bait. NATO should be dismantled. All right, you have it ready?
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38 and verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, verse 2, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
All right. So the Most High sent a prophet. At the time, there was a country, Gog. Verse 1, you read?
Verse 2, just read it.
All right. Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. These are Meshech and Tubal were sons of Cain, I think. No? Yeah. I think they were descendants of, sorry, not Cain, Esau. I think they were descendants of Esau. Right? So prophesy against them. Verse 3.
Another one gone, verse 3. And say, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal.
Meshach.
Okay, slack.
Meshach and
Meshech.
Shech.
Slack.
Meshach. Yeah, Meshach.
Yeah.
And Tubal.
Good.
All right, so right, so UPK, we had identified Gog to be Russia.
Right.
I've identified Gog to be the country today known as Russia.
Right.
All right, read verse 4.
Another one gone, verse 4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws.
All right, why he said turn thee back? It means you were going in a direction.
Right.
Then you turn from the direction you were going and start going in a different direction.
Yeah.
So the Most High, when he says he put hooks in your jaw, it means he won't put you back on the track that you were going first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why you see the land of Gog going after countries that were once Magog.
Right. Right.
When this one is just the West escalate this, you know, but it's not the first country that was former Soviet bloc that they invaded. They invaded
Poland.
No man, when they invaded Poland yet.
Oh, recently?
Before now.
Before. Okay.
Georgia.
Georgia. Got.
They invaded Georgia.
Got.
And there are some other countries which is going to come up in one of the tape the tape that we have. But it's not the first former Soviet country that they have invaded. All right, so return thee back, put hooks into thy jaws. Continue.
Another one gun. And I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords.
So that is not a farmer. This gang now is not a farm, is not a gang of persons who have other trades.
Right.
This is a gang of warriors. Right? All of them handling swords, bucklers, shields. This was named according to how war was fought back when Ezekiel was writing this. But in today, we know them buckler and shield. The bucklers and shield are the thing, the armors of war. Right. Today you put on when they call it the vest there again. They call it vest they put on. Body armor. But the body armor vest. Bulletproof vest. Yeah, bulletproof vest. The sword today is not like the machete.
Right.
The sword today is the gun.
Right.
So all of them bearing guns. So he said that he put hooks into his jaw. Verse 5.
Another one gun, verse 5. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet.
All right. Why when you name Persia, we know Persia is Iran, we still have Ethiopia, we still have Libya around.
Right.
So that means you're probably going to now focus on those countries after here. So this is not a one-day war that Putin is going. We already know that Iran is his closest ally. We already know that. I mean, Ethiopia right now is more aligned to the West than to Russia. Libya, probably more Russian now than the West because of what the West did to Libya. So it will, so if he should march his troop into Libya, there probably might not be any fighting. You understand? They just welcome him with open arms. Ethiopia too, because maybe march in Ethiopia, but Ethiopia is kind of sticky because which side him going back? He could back the Tigray side, or he could back the government. So we're not sure, but it will be Ethiopia anyway. So probably he's the one who's gonna bring some amount of peace into Ethiopia. But the Bible is naming those countries as his allies. Are what do you call it? Magog. All right, 6.
Another one gun, verse 6. Gomer and all his bands, the host of Togarmah of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee.
All right, Gomer is who again? Are they my friends? No? So when he say Gomer, when he say and all their bands, you know, it's talking about those who might be aligned with them.
Sir.
Yeah.
You know that now we have a election going in
France.
Right?
Macron win back, you know.
He win the entire election.
Yeah, I saw something like that. Macron, he beat the lady.
Okay. So because that lady, she's a Russian supporter, and she believed that France should leave NATO.
Really?
Yeah, God.
Interesting.
So this where the Bible said it seemed right at the doorstep.
Right on the doorstep.
God.
So the next 4 years for their election, I think.
She's more like Trump, you know. More like
I think Trump going back in power, you know.
think so. God.
And this war not going too popular for Biden.
God.
I mean, the way Trump would have dealt with it is a bit different from maybe Trump would have been in that war already. Anything.
Yeah,
that is Trump.
I really think God.
Yeah, man. That's what Trump is the kind of gangster who tell us anything, you know, you're not going to violate.
God, even though him and Russia kind of seem like him have a coup. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what him say now. Say if he mean a war, Russia wouldn't invade thing there. Because Russia knows enough to play with him. That's what he said. No, Russia, Putin respect power. You know? Look at all the allies that Putin have. His power. Putin no respect shaky, wuss kind of thing. So he respect Trump.
Okay.
All right. Where are we now? Verse 1? 7 now.
Verse 7. Verse 7. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them.
All right. So who is to be a guard unto all those who become under the wings? Now we're talking about Russia.
Right.
So Russia must be prepared for all these that are coming.
God.
And the oil money is flowing in.
Right.
Here they're talking about Europe should stop by Russia now. It's just talk, you know. But they can't do anything else.
Right.
Your oil refinery is built according to the country, the specification of the oil, what that you're going to process in it.
It's like a diesel vehicle.
Can't use gas.
Crap.
You could have the vehicle and change it from diesel to gas, but you have to change the whole engine. Right? The whole engine, the whole drive chain have to change for you to now switch to gas. So they have Russian oil. Their refineries were built to process Russian oil. You want to process a different oil, you have to change the refinery. Money. So you ain't gonna stop. And then Germany, remember that Germany built
pipeline.
This is the Nord Stream 2. Nord Stream 2 was really to bypass Ukraine. You know?
Okay.
So now that if you have Ukraine under control, then I really need Nord Stream 2. You know? That was to bypass Ukraine, and because Ukraine already know and pay no money. Because they have to flow through film country. You might collect off it and you might get fat and might be a big talk against Russia and thing, and Russia don't like that. And Russia say, you're gonna spoil, you come to spoil my thing. So Nord Stream 2 now bypass supposed to cut out Ukraine and still flow oil and gas into Germany. So Germany in a way have been backing Russia. But can you blame them? I mean, it's good oil and gas and it's cheap. Because Putin don't hold out on price. Putin negotiate cheap price with them, and then these companies that are buying the cheap Russian gas. As a matter of fact, since the war, there's no change in price between Putin and them. What might have increased is the quantity.
Okay.
But in terms of price, Putin still maintain the price that was before that they have in the contract.
Yeah.
The companies that buying these oil now, they sell it back at market price. So they are actually making more money since the war.
Right.
So why you think them are go the rest of the world to the rest of the world, you know, this is a humanitarian crisis and all that. But to Europe, it's business. I mean, they're making more money. It's you think the war. As a matter of fact, you think they want to stop right now? America making more money out of arms. And because NATO now have to be buying more arms from America to bolster themselves.
God.
Especially the former names, the former Soviet states.
God.
They have to now be finding more money to spend to bolster their security. But Russia not going to invade them. Russia not going to invade them, you know, but the West is making more money. Everything else is also making more money. As you can see, the very food you buy.
Right. God, gas gone up on everything.
Everything is so. Yeah. The war is benefiting them more than anything else. The only people paying the price, guess?
The poor.
Ukraine.
Oh, Ukraine. Yeah.
The poor always be paying the price.
Yeah.
But the only people really paying the price for this war is the Ukrainian. Yeah. And whichever Russian soldiers that might die. Right. They are the only one paying the price. But all the other rich and business people in the world, West and elsewhere, they are making money. They're making more money. All right, we're at verse
verse
8.
Another one can, verse 8. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have been always wasted. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them.
All right. So he will go up against Jerusalem. But according to this, though, it seems as if it's when we return.
Right.
But it could be that he would be in the land before we return. Yeah, because it could be that him go and try and put some power behind Hamas. But him putting power behind Hamas is not direct, you know. It goes through Iran.
Right.
But him can instruct Iran, say, yeah, bolster Hamas. All right? Just like how Yemen, since this war, and then the West talking about buy more oil from Saudi Arabia. What Yemen do? Yemen lick up Saudi Arabia oil line pipelines. They don't kill anybody, you know. They don't kill anybody, but they fire some missile over in Saudi Arabia and damage a lot of the pipeline. So they can sell more oil.
And also I want don't try to sell no more oil. If you do that,
then they're going against, go against it done.
That seems like that order comes directly from Russia.
Well, that's my point. So we are not within their line of communication, so we can definitively say, yes, it comes from Russia, but based on the action. Sometimes, you know, you have some gangster around you who read your play and just know the right move to make without you telling them. But in this case, it could be an order coming down the line and say, yeah, you never talk about stop by oil from the dam. You see, who they want to go to lick up them pipeline. So for the next 2 years, Saudi Arabia can sell now. They can supply more oil to. You can fill this space where if they stop by Russian oil, Russian gas. The thing with the gas now, the gas is different from the oil.
The gas are the processed version.
The gas is just like your cooking gas. You can't buy that for anybody. Your stove you can buy gas out here. You can buy a gas from Shell. You can decide to go buy IGL and you use it on the same stove. You can decide to buy the next Yardman. And you go and use it on the same stove without changing out anything. But the oil that runs to make what runs the motor vehicle a bit different. So they could decide, when I buy no more gas from Russia, I go buy it from somebody else. And you can switch that. when they look up Saudi Arabia now, who is going to fill the gap? It's going to take a little while for Venezuela to actually get back on track as they were before. Probably they start. And this is the other thing. That's why I said NATO should be dismantled. What was the reason for them to start buying Venezuelan oil?
So, I remember how it go.
There are no good reason. It's just they have a hatred for Israelites when they can't explain. What's their reasons to stop buying banana and sugar from Jamaica?
There's hatred.
Well, banana from the Caribbean in general. Jamaica had one of the best sugar in the world, produced one of the best sugar in the world. Why they stopped buying it? And they went and buy.
Just to make life hard for we.
Exactly. And then they take up 15 countries that were communist under their wings. What happened to Cuba? Cuba was communist too. You leave Cuba out there in the cold. You don't have to take him up in a NATO. But spend some money with him. Right?
Because also a farmer.
Soviet state.
You know what I mean? So,
well, it wasn't a state, but an ally. Right?
Obviously, help farmer
Soviet state. Including who was the head communist? Russia.
Russia, right.
So
what is the difference?
What's their angle? What's their angle?
Right.
Just to oppress people. They should be dismantled. They don't serve no purpose. They can't defend Europe. Might can defend themselves.
So, they are one day them can defend certain NATO states too. Like if certain NATO states.
Yeah, man, they will, man. Because if one commander attack and 29 come down on you, if you lick one dog and 29 come down on you, that's not easy.
Meaning though, like, all right, if them so afraid of World War II, maybe certain NATO state might have to just fend for them more.
Probably gonna come down to that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, what? All right. So for instance, Poland. Can go and attack Poland. Maybe the first thing I'm going to say, should we risk our economy in defense of Poland?
Right. Russia should de-escalate and put on more.
And then the rest of NATO is gonna say, but Article 5, what happened to Article 5 is supposed to come to my defense. Right. Maybe that's the moment when NATO going to just crash. Right. They say, yeah, well, I'm gonna risk my economy if you come to you, because save you, get up on your own. Right. Might just happen that way. Right. So, you know, it should be dismantled. Put that same kind of gangster thing, make it be all for United Nations.
Right.
And that is where Christ comes in. Christ's organization over this world is going to be similar to the United Nations, where every country come under him and report to him. Right. And every country will be mutually assured of security. And anyone who is the aggressor, that's the one who the 144 going to demolish, you know. Yeah. Zachariah tell you about, you know. That's the country who is going to try to be an aggressor to the allies. So then they're going to see real, not only barking, but biting. Yeah. But right now, NATO not on teeth. Yeah, they talk about, yeah, NATO has managed to bring peace to Europe for about, 70 years? About 70 years. That might be true, because everybody was afraid of the gang. But this one man now is a one-man gang. I'm afraid of it. All right, give me 9.
God 1 verse 9. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands and many people with thee.
All right, so they are going to grow. That's what he's telling you. And this time when they grow, it might not be just the former Soviet countries, but the world is going to be divided. And this time, Russia is going to be a real attack dog, right? And who is doing it? The most I tell you that he is the one who will be doing it.
Yeah.
Because by crashing this world, that's how his people is going to be freed. They don't want to give us freedom. That's why they stop spending their money with Israelite countries and start spending it with other countries in Europe. Mexico, how much money they spend in Mexico? Them and Mexico have trade deals, yes. But it's some rich white people in Mexico are benefit from their money there. Hello. I'm in class. Right. Those you check it out, is some rich whites in Mexico benefiting from those trade deals.
Okay. Yeah.
Not as Israelites. Just like how if they have a trade deal in Jamaica, who you think benefiting?
The descendants of,
Yeah, the rich whites who are out here and the other nations. How we would benefit from a trade deal? The fact that these companies now have more sale, then they would need more workers. But there's not money. That's the most unemployment. But what we in the truth need, maybe is we in the truth have to start doing that too. Start looking, because many of us in the truth are already in business.
Right.
So it's just a matter of really seriously looking into business.
Yeah, because it not just take your what you call it now, your desire to start a business in them time as an Israelite, run a business, You have to definitely have the mindset like we command in general, and pass down to it. Say you're it's for our people.
Thank you.
Right now we're gonna
you're doing something, you're doing it, and who would be the best person to do it? Those who are learning the truth,
right,
who understand the warfare that we are in.
Right.
Yeah, we should be the business people, right, for our people. Right. Yeah. All those monies where you see them deals, where you see them jakes getting, yeah, should be flowing through the UPK. Right. Right? Well, we know that when you have a certain rhetoric, you are sidelined, but at the same time, when God is in our pocket, we know what happened. Right. We saw it in the time of Solomon and other times after that too. So it's a matter of just doing it again. Right. And now we understanding the law, we're practicing the laws, we're practicing our feast days, we're getting back. One of the things that needs to come back to is our wealth. Right. Right? And getting wealth in this time won't be the same, carry the same rhetoric as what Christ have been telling the rich of his time, that it's easier for a camel go through eye of an eagle than for you coming to my kingdom. Right? But if Christ's disciples were the business people, which many of them were, because you had Luke, who was a doctor, the others were fishermen. Fishing is is a big money industry, And they had ship that go out and fish. Right? But the Christ doctrine was not focused on making the money. It's saving the people. Well, we take on the same, all we need to do, take on the same persona. We're in business, but the focus here is really to save our people. Not so much in piling up money. That is why Christ talk about where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Which means now, if you're in business at this time, don't let your heart be with the business, really. It has to be with the business in the sense, or the business will fail. But the heart should be, this business is really for saving my people. Understand? So, this man now forming another gang. And this is going to counter NATO. So, in other words, if there was no NATO at the time when Russia fell, the world probably would be more peaceful now. Because when Russia when Russia, they have well, NATO is one, but they have a mind which is solely for their people. But I think the mistake now is, all right, Commanding General YAHANNA have a mind for his people.
Okay.
Now, the kingdom was split into the North and South Kingdom, right?
Okay.
Commanding General YAHANNA is from the line of Benjamin, of which I am and you are, and we in the Caribbean are. Okay. But is his work solely for Benjamin, for Benjamites?
Yeah.
Right. Commanding General YAHANNA's work is for the 12th tribe.
Right.
All right. What I'm saying now is, them in NATO is not for all of Europe anyway.
Right.
They are for some. So in other words, they are the ones dividing the world.
Right.
Dividing Europe, because Europe is now the epicenter of things. Right. So they are the ones who are actually dividing Europe, because there are some countries who take in the gang and some you don't.
Right. And when you say Europe, you really are ESA.
ESA.
Right.
Because Russia is also ESA.
Right. God. So it's
a device, ESA and ESA. Which is now going to bring war.
Right.
But what if they add all of themselves in the one gang?
They would have a stronger hold on the entire planet.
And you'd have less war.
Right.
Because how many other nations invade them? The only one who was brave enough was Japan. And it's because of the move they made against Japan. Right. Japan just make a retaliatory move because you try to shut down my economy. Right? So while they are praising NATO, really, NATO is really the divisive factor there. Why you don't make all? Because Putin himself said when Russia fell, he was trying to get Russia into NATO.
Yes, you see that, and he was basically denied.
Yeah. He was so embarrassed him don't even talk about it. Now, imagine if you had Russia in NATO, the world would have been more peaceful.
Right.
So, is their aim really peace?
It's like so said it occurred to him that they wanted Russia to be that
aggressor.
Enemy, you know what I mean?
They want to make Russia into an enemy.
Right. Yeah.
So Esau, because Esau was blessed with the sword, I mean, if your blessing is the gun, then there must always be a target.
Right.
Well, luckily for us, they want people a target.
Right.
That's all I can say. But it should be dismantled. It will be more peaceful for the world. I mean, ultimately, more peaceful for the world when Christ returns, but Christ isn't here yet. So, and it will be dismantled. Right? General YAHANNA prophesied that it will come to pass.
Yes, sir.
And hold on, and it might come to pass before Russia before Putin bring back the army to Russia.
Right.
Yeah.
So they claim say NATO is to bring together, like we are explained, a really division them cause.
A division them causing, man. What if we in UK now, all right, this rebirth of Israel began with the Southern Kingdom people. Yeah. The 7 brothers who start were Southern Kingdom. Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Yeah. I don't know if any Levi was in the 7. I'm not sure, but there was Judah. There was a Jamaican in it.
Okay.
One of them was a Jamaican. Okay. Yeah, man. And bam, that's the birth. What if they decide, all right, we're going to lock hands now and close ranks? Yeah. Just the Southern Kingdom in this. We would be dividing Israel. But that is what NATO has done, divide Europe.
Right.
It brought peace in a sense, but it's the same thing that is now going to bring war.
Right.
Because here you have one man now holding the 30 and you hostage, showing how much of a wuss you are.
Right. So it's almost a case of the one who was rejected. You know what I mean? Decide that, you know, I will just get strong and then me I come take over everything because they reject me. You understand? I think watch that show they already play.
You diss me. So, you know, I come back for you, know. But it's the most I having his way, really. Because here it is prophesied that he, the Most High, will bring them. All right. Every country that grows to these superpower states has been in contact with chariots. We know that Russia, when America have Era 52, Russia come in contact with chariots too, you know.
Say that again.
Russia
at Era 52?
No, man. Sorry, America with Era 51. Era 51? Yeah. America having Era 51. Russia was in contact with chariots too. Yeah. I think they had some testing and too.
And also Nazi Germany.
Germany had.
Right.
So the most I give them.
Right.
So in other words, they can only rise to power with help from the angels.
Right.
But in their case, I mean, you get, if we said, let's say we should get a chariot, we're not going to take a chariot and look and say what on it we can use to make weapons of war. So that's Esau looking. Esau is studying. Remember the same chariot, you know, that is going to bring salvation to you. Is the same chariot going to bring destruction to the other nations? So the same chariot is both salvation and destruction. But why do they have to be studying the destructive side of it? Why don't they look and see how can we help mankind out of this?
Right.
Google, which we use, they use it strongly in America to navigate the streets. Google originally wasn't built to navigate the streets, you know. Google originally was built to guide missile into an expanded territory. So after they find something better than Google, and they say, oh, now that we have found something better, this can now go and benefit mankind. So mankind is really secondary to them, right. Which is why they have no qualms in talking about nuclear war and nuclear destruction.
And that is basically their approach. Everything that they come up, you know what I mean, they come up with, them using militarily, and then after a certain time, they release it to the public. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Right. And then we here in Jamaica now have to be tagging along with them and them big world destruction and world problem. Right? So, I mean, it's really devastating. They are just seeking to build themselves. And the scripture is telling you that when we should go back to power, the entire earth is going to benefit.
Right.
So, I mean, why Esau can't think of benefiting the world with his strength and power? It's just not in him. All right, that was a 9. Give me 10.
Gun and one gun.
Hold on, we read 9 already? All right, read 9 and 10.
Gun and one gun, verse 9. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. Verse 10. Thus saith the Lord God, it shall also come to pass that all the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought.
All right, that happened already, and that evil thought was you know, if we allow Ukraine to go and join NATO, NATO is going to come and impute Ukraine is going to attack us. And when I retaliate, then it's going to trigger Article 5 and NATO, and then that is going to be World War III. So it's best if I attack NATO now and take him. I mean, is there any other evil thought that is going to come to his mind?
Unleash Satan. I Satan too.
All right, read 11, and you will see what the evil thought is going to, what the evil thought bring out.
Verse 11. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. Right. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely. All of them dwelleth without walls, and having neither bars nor gates.
All right. So one of that wall would be what? Tell me one such wall in this world.
Wall?
Yeah.
A wall would be like a defense.
Mm.
Right? NATO would be one of those walls.
NATO is a major one.
Right.
There are others, you know. Yeah, man, you have the Arabs, they have something there. Chinese, them around there, so. But NATO, you see that evil thought now. So him go up to the annual village of Ukraine.
Yeah.
He went up to an annual village of Georgia and some other places before.
Yeah.
And Zelensky is trying to tell NATO, so he's Moldova next. You might be right, but it is so scriptural. It's right there in the scripture. It's just that those who the Most High choose to understand it, they are the ones who will understand it.
Yeah.
And that is us in the I.S.U.P.K and the Commanding General YAHANNA now. That's the one who is going to understand it. All right. I'm going to touch two more things on Putin before we start talking about him and go to something else. One country which is following this war toe, you know, giving you some unbiased report.
India.
Yeah, you know, where was I the other day? I forgot we were somewhere outside of Clarendon, and I hear somebody playing Gravitas on their phone.
Yeah, man, because up the road when we live and see the man in the car and I listen to
Gravitas, I read that man listen.
I eat the trending news and now regular I check trending and see Gravitas are trending, you know.
All right. And why is that so? Because
unbiased news.
Thank you.
God.
All right, this one I don't want to please one again. This is Russian missile can destroy the target. No. All right, Russia's critics. They're getting the critics in Russia talking now.
Now that he's invaded, Putin doesn't have a reverse gear. He doesn't have any capacity to compromise, to back down, to show weakness. Had we just done a bit of the sanctioning, he might have changed his calculus. Now that he's invaded.
All right, this man, you know, he's saying that he was one of Russia's largest external investor. Something like about 15 years ago or so.
Yeah.
But he was one of them who was going against the corruption in Russia. So they went against him. So him now telling what he knew about Putin and Russia in general.
Putin doesn't have a reverse gear. He doesn't have any capacity.
No, this is what the man said. Putin do what?
Do have a reverse gear, but what must say?
Reverse gear.
Oh, reverse gear. Okay.
Putin can't go in a reverse.
Okay. Full speed.
Full speed.
Yeah.
So it's funny. And when I bring out this point, what the most I say, he will bring the what? Forth.
Yeah.
Go back to the scriptures. I think of 4, verse 4.
God was gone. And I will bring thee forth.
Right. So, I mean, even those who not following the scriptures is realizing these things about the man.
Right.
So this man and a reverse gear. This man that's full speed ahead.
Yeah.
Because let's hear what him say. Because I think he speak of the other countries he invaded before now.
He might have changed his calculus. Now that he's invaded, Putin doesn't have a reverse gear. He doesn't have any capacity to compromise, to back down, to show weakness. And so the purpose of the
this is him. He's a man who don't show weakness. Yeah.
Sanctions at this point is not to change his mind. I don't think that the sanctions will change the oligarchs' minds either, because they don't have any effect on Putin. They can't. They're subordinate to him. The purpose of sanctions at this point, in my opinion, is that we want to starve Putin of all the financial resources that he has to wage this war. If we can cut off his money in every different way, including by sanctioning the oligarchs and sanctioning the Russian government, etc., then perhaps in the future he's not going to have the money to do what he's been doing and plans to do.
When we spoke to Oliver Dowden a little bit earlier in the programme, he's a member of the government here in the United Kingdom. He said that he would like to see Germany and France doing more. Is there a question that when some European countries are still pumping billions of pounds into
Salisbury, nothing.
Right. Here is the countries I'm talking about who Russia invaded before Ukraine.
We were never going to do this type of sanctioning because over the last 22 years, he's done a lot of other terrible things.
Over the last 22 years. Done one more terrible things.
It's terrible atrocities. And we've always looked the other way. He invaded Georgia, nothing. Crimea, taking Crimea, nothing. Salisbury, nothing. And many, many other things, nothing. And so he was sort of...
Right. So this man said he has been doing things before now. So he wasn't calculating that, this would blow out on him this much. But even though it blow out, him do have a reverse gear. And him seem to be managing it effectively, quite well. Yeah, them have them strategies. And them pulling him generals and allies together.
Under the impression that this was going to be the same thing with Ukraine. Had we just done a bit of the sanctioning, he might have changed his calculus. Now that he's invaded, Putin doesn't have a reverse gear. He doesn't have any capacity to compromise, to back down, to show weakness. And so the purpose of the sanctions at this point is not to change his mind. I don't think that the sanctions will change the oligarchs' minds either, because...
Right, so this man is moving just as the scripture said. Full speed ahead, man. Alright, this other one now brings out Putin bringing out his attack dog.
The man who's ensured the Mariupol victory is the Chechen warlord, also called Putin's attack dog.
Chechnya. Right. Chechnya come from. He's a Chechnyan warlord.
Okay.
He's the one who assured Putin's victory over Mariupol. Right. So I'm bringing the Chechnyan warlord, but listen what them say about him.
Ramzan Kadyrov is the man who was deployed in Mariupol, and he's done the job for Putin in a matter of weeks. Take a look.
Вот так говорит наш командующий, самый лучший командующий.
Ramzan Kadyrov, the man who rules Chechnya with an iron fist, handpicked by Vladimir Putin for the top job. Someone who wrestles crocodiles with bare hands.
You see that? Yo, me say, if one of us in UPK would wrestle a crocodile with bare hands, big talk.
Yeah.
Like how Shamgar grab a bull the other day at the lamb slaughter and wrestle the bull. Yeah, those are the things that are respected.
Okay.
So Putin have some more ways in which the Most High would respect.
Right.
Yeah, those are old-time warrior ways, you know. Not nowadays you have warriors dressing up like girls.
Right.
Most High don't respect those things.
Known as Putin's attack dog, Kadyrov landed in near-fallen city of Mariupol with one mission: to capture the port city for his leader. And he's done exactly that in a matter of weeks with his Chechen fighters. Kadyrov portrays a macho image of himself.
Right, macho. The male testosterone is blazing on Putin's side.
Yeah.
And that is what the Most High is bringing back into this world.
Yeah.
Now listen how him operate too.
Frequently posing with guns and military garb. He has never shied away from flaunting his opulent wealth. A known tyrant who stops at nothing. The Chechen president has been accused of a wide array of human rights violations under his rule. Kadyrov has been accused of ordering torture and extrajudicial killings, along with a string of assassinations of Russian journalists and human rights activists. A number of his Chechen critics who sought asylum abroad were attacked or killed even on foreign soil. Kadyrov imposes regression through violence in Chechnya, where he ordered women to be shot at with paintballs for not observing the Islamic dress code.
So everyone come on road and not dress as God told the religions, a paintball gonna clap your guns. Yeah, this man sound like a former Soviet style of ruler. All right? But listen, continue listening.
Even urging men to block their wives from using WhatsApp. The Chechen leader also backs polygamy and in the past has ordered purges against homosexuals.
Now that is the key where the Most High is looking at. He believes in what? Polygamy. What's polygamy?
Polygamy is when you have more than one wife. A man can have more than one wife.
Right. He believes a man can have more than one wife and he fights against homosexuality.
Right.
So maybe that one quality of the Most High look and say, all right, I'll begin there.
Yeah. That's a good quality to have.
Yeah. Not being with the homosexual. Because remember, it's the Most High have destroyed a country, one whole city. What do you name again? Sodom and Gomorrah. God. 2 cities.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
And Gomorrah. Destroy them not for warfare.
Right.
Not because they have idols.
Right.
Not because they were going against They were worshiping other gods other than the Most High God, which is idols.
Right.
Not because they were making wars, but because they were homosexuals.
Right.
Destroy them. So Putin, Chechnyan leader, you know, you can imagine you're in a sticky situation and you can call a friend, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
A roughneck friend.
A roughneck friend.
No effeminate and no weakling.
No, yeah. The man come in and within a matter of weeks, him win the city for him leader and go on.
Different quality of warrior,
How you mean? Maybe that is the humanitarian situation we leave behind.
Yeah, that's why you have so much.
So it was Russia who do it.
Yeah.
The Chechnyans.
God.
The Chechen warriors do it. And they shot anything will look, any man will look too feminine, any woman will look too masculine get shot. And I know paintball them use this up. A real shot. Damn.
Going on to claim there is no homosexual person in Chechnya. Ramzan Kadyrov is one of Kremlin's deadliest weapons.
And certainly most I will give, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of mindset, the victory.
Victory, yeah.
You know,
because that's something for him to start on.
Right.
And your man claims it no man. Yeah. No chichi man, no that Chechnya. No fish, no that Chechnya. Right? That's the man claim. There's no homosexual in Chechnya.
The Chechen leader also backs polygamy and in the past has ordered purges against homosexuals. Going on to claim there is no homosexual person in Chechnya. Ramzan Kadyrov is one of Kremlin's deadliest weapons.
Ramzan Kadyrov would do well in Jamaica. Not with the killing side so much, because we have enough of that. But can I say, no chichi man, not that Chechnya.
Right.
Well, this is it. Why is it that the Most High would choose them to bring back and bring forth into battle against the hammer of the earth?
Right.
If the hammer of the earth was moving right, then would the Most High need to declare war against it?
Yeah.
So why is it? Why I'm using all these men have all the ancient qualities that the Bible speak of, which is masculine,
right?
Polygamy, having more than one wife, which the Bible does not speak against.
Right.
And the religious leaders now know that, of today, know that the Bible does not speak against polygamy.
Right.
But the Bible does speak against homosexuality.
Right.
And yet still they are allowing homosexuals in the church.
Right.
So you are fighting polygamy and allowing homosexual. All right, let's say you were fighting polygamy and you were fighting homosexual as well. You could survive. But you are the Most I won't judge them for the fight against polygamy. They'll be judged for the accepting of homosexuality.
Maybe fighting against polygamy is borderline support for homosexuality. Because what could be your reason for not want a man? You being a man, no want a man to have more than one wife.
But you want a man to have a man.
You understand?
Yeah.
You
right. So the one wife also supports homosexuality in that. Yeah. They have a one wife. They have a wife for reproduction.
Right.
Because they can't reproduce with homosexuality. But they can. You have a wife for reproduction and for your handling and your assets and whatever.
Right.
But really and truly, your interest is in homosexuality.
Right.
So that's why there's a one wife.
Right. It's borderline homosexuality. You're against polygamy, suspect.
Yeah, but all of this.
And Putin's strategy on unleashing Kadyrov on Ukraine is clearly working.
All right, and this was posted today, April what today? 24th?
Country.
Right, so this news was posted 2 days ago. So it's not still news. Right. So you're right. As I said, the polygamy, even in the church, all the people who is against polygamy is for homosexuality.
Right. I remember the purple flag thing too.
Thank you. Right. They have the purple flags. They are against. They speak against us, talking against polygamy, which the Bible does not speak against.
Right.
But they support. Many of their members go and sleep with Chinese. And the Chinese then come out and embarrass them on the road. That's why they can't openly speak.
Speak out against it.
Yeah, they can tell us that they don't do it because the law.
Right.
But they don't do it because they have, yeah man, they have a ticket, man. They see them already on the road and say, hey, you don't talk. No, you don't talk. You're my bitch.
They know them, man.
They know them. They know what they like.
Right.
All right. Touch on the scripture before we play another video. All right, we'll just touch the Middle East. We'll play a video on the Middle East. In the meantime, find Joel 3. Read Joel 3 and 2.
Let's read it.
Joel chapter 3, verse 2.
This is the book of Joel chapter 3 and verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
All right, so the Moses is against parting his land. Yeah. So who was it that parted the land? Them same Jewish man were down there. So that shows you that they are not the Moses' heritage. Right. They are the ones who parted the land. All right. Tensions in Israel, Palestine is back on the forefront. Yeah, man. Hamas sent out a warning. That's how you go.
They sent out a warning, said we are coming.
It look like them down there, because some missile fire up
over Israel.
Yeah. But Israel leaked so many tunnels in an 11-day war the other day. Is it that they have more tunnels than Israel don't know about, or the man them build tunnel already? Because obviously them bringing some rockets down there.
Oh, yeah, so then there are some recent tunnels.
We don't know. We don't know that. I'm saying how Hamas get to be firing rockets.
Okay. Okay.
Remains on the edge. Tensions are rising along the Gaza Strip. There are record-breaking attacks in Tel Aviv, and Jerusalem is in the grip of unrest. I'll start with Gaza. On Wednesday night, Palestinian militants fired a volley of rockets into Israel. Who was behind this attack? Hamas, the biggest militant group in Palestine. What was the trigger? No one knows. Although some say it was the result of the recent clashes between Israelis and Palestinians.
Right. So the Mosai is really, like he's saying, stirring up the nations. He's stirring up the spirit of war in them. And this is coming out in the form of attacks when nobody don't know what caused it. But Israel went and provoked them by, they have the mass, the Al-Aqsa mass. This time of year, they have one kind of one celebration. What is it?
Ramadan.
Ramadan? I don't remember. They have one celebration.
And I think it falls in line with the Jewish Passover
and
Easter.
No, the Jews Passover, not the Jewish. Our Passover, Easter.
No, the Jewish Passover.
Because them don't have one. Yeah. So they know the police then come out now and search people going to the mosque and turn back some and all them things. So in other words, provoking the people. Hamas send out some warning against, hey, what will Hamas say now? Trust me, I never see a fighter them relentless. I think Zelensky relentless.
And him always a lose, you know.
Always a lose and have the most talk.
God.
The last war, 11-day war, you know, Hamas create more damage than before.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why them come out and say, yeah, we have improved.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, and then behind the shootings them where take place where random Palestinians just go around and shoot Israelis.
We don't know. Could be.
Approach them take.
Could be.
Because whenever them fire a missile, the defense mechanism just shot it out of the sky. So maybe them see it more practical to just walk the streets and just shoot Israelis.
They can override the defense mechanism, you know. But you have to send thousands of missiles. They will have to fire the whole of the arsenal one time. That don't really make sense.
Remember, on the 11th of April, Hamas had warned Israel that if the unrest in Jerusalem did not stop, it would unleash attacks on the Jewish state. Listen to this.
الشعب الفلسطيني قرر المواجهة حتى رحيل هذا الاحتلال، كما أن الشعب الفلسطيني يحاول أن يعد العدة ويراكم القوة من أجل معركة التحرير الكاملة على العدو الصهيوني، أن يعد العدة والخطط للانسحاب والرحيل لأننا قادمون.
We are coming, warned Hamas. This week, it has executed the warning and its actions have not gone unanswered. During Thursday midnight, Israel retaliated. It launched airstrikes on Gaza to send a message to Palestinians. It apparently targeted a military post and a tunnel complex, which Israel says contained raw chemicals for rocket engines. Reports say this was the biggest escalation since the 11-day war last year. And from the looks of it, it's only set to get worse. Courtesy, the unrest in Jerusalem. For the last 3 weeks, it has been witnessing violent protests, clashes, and attacks. The flashpoint came last Friday when the violence reached the Al-Aqsa Mosque, a site revered by both Jews and Muslims. Last Friday, over 150 Palestinians were left injured in a violent face-off with the Israeli security forces. Today, something similar happened. There was violence at the Al-Aqsa compound. The Palestinians clashed with the Israeli police. Over 31 people were left injured. 14 were taken to the hospital. 2 of them had serious injuries. What was the trigger? Like always, the answer depends on who you ask. Israeli police saying the Palestinians attacked first, that they hurled rocks and fireworks towards the Western Wall where a Jewish ceremony was underway. The Palestinians saying the attack started only after the Israeli police blocked worshippers from entering the mosque. They say some worshippers were arbitrarily stopped at checkpoints, and this apparently led to violence.
What I realized though, whenever the Palestinians have some intelligence as to the movements of Hamas, they go and provoke the command man in Palestine.
Okay.
And then you hear them say, they are provoking us, blah, blah, blah. And then some big military airstrike take place. All right. Them fling rock in stones at you and maybe kill somebody else. What that have to do with now, you go and lick in a military base and a complex that is housing rocket fuel and all that. You see?
Right.
So obviously the aim there was those things which the plane came in and strike out. But in order to do that, you go and provoke the people. Typical Esau, know to start a war. Esau know to pick a war.
There is no ease. It's a lie. There is no ease. They only announced in media outlets, but in reality, they banned women and elderly people because they don't have permits.
الفترية رجعوا ليش ما عادش تسريح؟
زي ما احنا بنعرف يعني انه عم
As you know, the Israeli forces set up more than 100 roadblocks on the way to Al-Aqsa compound. They reinforced security at checkpoints and blocked our scout members, even though they have permits from the occupation force to be able to serve fasting people.
Right. So apparently, what they do, they in a Palestine, you have to have pass, some ID, right? So if you go to the mosque and they say along the road leading to the mosque, you have over 100 checkpoints. That's provocation. Each time you go up, you have to stop. ID, harass, search, blah, blah, blah. I realize I look at trends, similar trend when it comes to airline. I mean, going on the airline, it's leaving here near Jamaica. Going on the plane, you pass. Normally, you go to the line, the airline attendants just check your, see that person name, the ticket. Sometimes I don't even look at the passport before COVID, but they check the ticket. So that you do have a ticket to come on the plane. Then we realize you have security personnel check you before you actually go. That is leaving Jamaica. You know? 2 checkpoints. So I'm wondering if identity theft is on the rise, where they have to check and make sure who is flying out, who the ID says flying out is actually them flying out. Or is it that you have some men that are so wanted that you are actually searching for them that way? It's one of 2 things, but I realize there's an increase in security check at our port. Departure port. Coming in is different.
Where are things headed? It's tough to say. It's been more than 3 weeks and the violence has not stopped. Almost every Friday there are clashes followed by protests and eventually...
Right. So if it wasn't for gravitas, we would know this is going on, you know? Because the war in Ukraine has dwarfed. Usually when these things happen, it is the news. But now, Ukraine is the news. So Bennett used the opportunity now to think there, to start up fresh tensions. But it's also part of the Most High's plan. He's stirring up the nations because this is our one. It's going to take the eyes off us. Right. So probably it's the right time for us to try, you know, and try sort out our financial situation, because the eyes is not so much on you now. Everybody looking at these conflicts. And remember that our God that we serve is the ultimate warlord. As a matter of fact, maybe that's where the word came from. He is a God of war, as he always said. So he knows how to use war to free you, war to oppress you. War good and bad.
Attacks. This is followed by an Israeli retaliation. It tightens restrictions further, cracks down on protesters, and unleashes rocket attacks. It has become an endless cycle of sorts. The United Nations has issued a statement. It says it is deeply concerned with the developments, that if tensions are not resolved in the days ahead, the situation could spiral out of control. The Prime Minister of Israel says he is trying his best to diffuse tensions. In fact, in a recent interview, he went on to state that when Palestinians don't attack, Israel has no issues with them.
That is true, but when you provoke them, they are going to attack. Right. Think of you going to... All right. We don't have we don't have no feast day celebration official site in Jamaica yet. But let's say you go up to the Passover. No, I want to use Jamaica, our country. Yeah. We're going into Kingston. We're having the Passover in Kingston. And all because you're having the Passover, you have to go through, say, 20 checkpoints. These are not checkpoints in which you just show your ID. These are checkpoints in which they dig you up. Yeah. Search what you have and all that.
Almost like interrogation.
Right, and you're doing that 20 times. Yeah. You must get frustrated.
Right.
And here they say they have over 100, and I don't think they're exaggerating. Maybe it's not 100, but obviously it's more than 50. So you have checkpoints, so many places that is checking you, and none of them rely on the information you give on the point before you come there. When you reach to them, you have to clear them. So even if you told the one before, yeah, just me and my 2 kids traveling, you still have to tell the next one the same thing, and the other one, and the other one. So at one point, you, worse if you were a warrior down there, right? You will get frustrated. So what he's talking about when Palestinians don't attack, we have no issues with them, is you provoking them. How many checkpoints you Israelis go through before you go into Israel? That is run by a Palestinian or another country. None. So you are the aggressor. These checkpoints are not run by Palestinians, they're run by Israelis.
Opinions say such statements are hogwash, that Israel's actions speak otherwise. They accuse Israel of trying to curb their religious freedom. They complain about unwarranted restrictions on them during Ramzan and call Israel's security checks draconian. So getting back to the question, where are things headed? From the looks of it, the situation seems similar to 2021. Around the same time last year, the tensions erupted and led to an all-out confrontation. Going by how the situation is getting worse this time as well, we might just see a rerun of 2021.
Right. So 2021 was, yes. So this was one of the conflicts that came out after COVID as well. People thought that this was the one to divide the world.
Yeah, remember that.
Right, Ukraine. But here it is going to blow out again. And then after Ukraine, you're going to have more. So it's going to be a string of attacks that is the most steering them up. Remember I said beat your plowshare into swords. Yeah. All right, so what you just read a while about Joel?
Canada one gun. Joel 3 and 2.
All right, drop down to Joel 9.
Canada one gun. 3 and verse 9, right?
Yeah.
Canada one gun. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up.
All right. That's it. And this is among the Gentiles. The Most High is steering them up into war.
Right.
So you're going to see more and more. The African state was stirred up. Now you see Europe, which haven't seen war in 70 years. Palestine, Yemen, all these Gentile states are being stirred up into battle, just like the Most High said. Verse 10.
Canada one gun, verse 10. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong.
All right. Which means that these wars are going to affect everyone within their country. The weak and the strong.
Right.
The mighty man and the man who is just a mouse. The man who is a mouse will have to find the strength and decide I'm going to defend himself.
Right.
Next verse.
Canada one gun, verse 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord.
Verse 12.
Verse 12. Let the heathen be weakened.
Waken.
Right,
means wake them up.
God.
Which is what the Most High is doing now. He is waking them up. Continue.
Canada one gun. And come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
All right, so these tensions is just like a practice.
God.
But ultimately, these wars are going to lead right up in the middle here.
Right.
Thank you. Next verse.
Canada one gun, verse 13. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get ye you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great.
All right. Let me finish this thing here.
We are now available in your country.
Right. Read that again.
Another one gun, verse 13. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great.
The harvest is ripe. I mean, why the Most High would be saying the harvest is ripe? Because his people is now together the way he wants it, right? So it's your time now to go, Eden. So my people can prosper like I want. I punish them. They were among you. You treat them like crap. I hope that he knows that we learn now, because I mean, damn. Even if you're rich into this world, the Esau world, you have to portray yourself as a wuss to maintain your riches. Look at the rich black Americans. They are afraid to speak out. Look at the first black woman to become a judge in the Supreme Court. Look at the embarrassing situation that she has to go through. She has to nearly reject her people.
Right.
Yeah, you ever saying something?
Yeah, man. Same thing with you just got.
Yeah. She have to actually tell them, you know, I reject my people.
Yeah, man. Have no
not in the exact words. I have no love for these black men that are doing this and blah 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 blah. Yeah. And look at the senators that were drilling her, Southern senators. Yeah. Straight from the slave trade.
Yeah, man. Ku
Klux Klan. Maybe I'm at the head of the clan now.
Right.
Maybe he's the dark head of the clan. You know, I'll have to ensure I'm in the Senate. I was in the Senate, Congress. I think it was Congress. I have to make sure I'm in the Congress to drill her. So what that tell you now?
You know, as the excelling of them society, you
have to denounce yourself.
Right. No love for your people at all.
So if that's the case, what would make the harvest ripe? Because the UPK is around now. Right. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge is around and is taking ground.
Right.
And they see it. They know it. They've been trying to hold things against you and all that.
God.
Nothing but backfiring and things. So the harvest is now ripe. Where the Most High is now raising his people up to come and take over. Continue.
Another one can, verse 14. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision.
Continue.
Verse 15. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Verse 16. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel.
Right. So all the things that what do you think with that and the moon and the stars? This is when the Most High chariots come down.
God.
So that means it won't be any night when him come down. Come down in the broad daylight, but it's so much that it block out the sun.
God.
Right? That's it. The way in which they will see these chariots.
Right.
They come at night. I mean, look how much night they go up there and see no star and no moon. You don't think it's any chariot blocking it out. It's just an overcast or something. So you come in the broad daylight now where the chariot is so much that it block out the sunlight and darken the earth. No, that is terror. Yeah, that is terrible. That's what they say, trouble there. Now, this is the way the Most High roll. That's the way our God roll. He is one who does things. His actions must leave a mark in your memory, which is why he put us into slavery, because trust me, we got to remember these. All right, give me Revelation 11, verse 12.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 11 and verse 12. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them.
Right. So this is the harvest now being ripe and thing, and while they are fighting and the Most High come, perhaps when they look, all who believe that they are in the land and they are the true chosen people, and when they look, not them.
Yeah.
The Most High choose his people. Yeah. The Most High make it known who is his and who is not. Yeah. That's how he rolls.
Yeah. Can imagine how them feel if it's the regular niggers and spicks
being taken up
by the Most High. Them are puzzled.
Just in time when Satan to go into action. Right. Oh, and by the way, did I play all of that video? Putin did say that 5 more tests this year from that missile. 5 more tests, and then officially in the Russian army. America had one that they were going to test, which they postponed.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it was an ICBM, intercontinental.
They're not really playing it down in reality.
Who?
They actually are making plans.
America? Of course. Right. They're making plans, man. God. And I can tell you now, they are working night and day. Right. Putin is showing him what he has. God. They are working night and day right now.
God. And I feel like, if Putin smart still, this is my smart opinion. If he's smart, he might as well put it to use now, because the longer I'm waiting, them go, them go reach the level we're in there.
Well, actually, remember, it take 20 odd years for it to reach where it is.
Well, true still.
Okay,
if you did God. So
it took roughly 20 odd years. Yeah, so. Who knows?
Who knows, God.
Maybe you already have it in him arsenal too.
God, again. And I make it look like him just a test it.
Just a test it. Because he want to show them, say, I have it. So the best way to show is I have it is to test it. And I'm going to test it 5 times.
This is not work. Show the 5 times.
Yeah. All right. Give me now 1 Thessalonians 4. 17 to 18. So while they are down here fighting and making Satan 1 and Satan 2, the Most High his plans is for them to kill themselves.
Right.
They can't say we kill them. Right. His plans is for them. I'm going to say 1 Thessalonians
4 and 17 and 18.
His plans is for them to kill themselves, and in them fighting, that is our liberation. Continue.
God, this is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 17. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord.
Thank you. You know, this is how the Most High plans to liberate his people, right? And we can say, THAWADAH to the Most High for can say THAWADAH to the Most High for remembering his people.
Right.
Right? And in remembering his people, what he does, get rid of the trouble.
God.
Eliminate the threat. And by him eliminating the threat, his people will be free. That's the only, you think, because you, remember, you know, you in Babylon, you know, you being rich don't prevent them from pulling you over when you're driving.
Right.
The rich black in America is just as intimidated by a cop pulling him over as the poor. There's no freedom there.
Right.
The Most High giving you true freedom is him eliminating the threat. So you're driving on the road, you are king. Yeah, who is going to pull you over? I mean, not because you are poor means you are violent.
Right.
That's what the cops, this exorbitant pullover, and is all about, you know, intimidation.
God.
Just like what they're doing in Palestine. Right? Intimidating the Palestinian with this many check stop. One little road leading you to the mosque. Obviously, it's not a lot far because they can't walk.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to go through so many checkpoints. I mean, all of them is not, they are all idolaters, you know. But I'm just bringing out this spirit of provocation that is in them. It's the same spirit they bring out to provoke us, Israelites. They went into the Central American countries, caused economic instability. Our brothers and sisters have to flee. You see pictures of woman breastfeeding her baby through mesh, through the fence. And obviously they rest well with these. But they can't rest well knowing that their own people is under attack by their own people in Europe. Yes, that's the Most High. That's how the Most High work. Yes. And he's going to make Putin steer them up more until NATO crumble.
Right.
And there's not no fight going to crumble them. When the rest of the world see how much of a wuss they are, everybody start joining on to Putin. Even their own people from NATO. I hear it. I left France with them. I join the real bad man. You understand? All right. That was 17. You read 18, yeah?
Yes.
Read 18.
Verse 18. Wherefore, comfort one another with these words.
Right. So what we talking about here now, these wars that you see breaking out in the world, a lot of our brothers and sisters is perturbed quietly about these things. And you have to be perturbed because it's affecting your pocket. The little money that you have has lost its spending power. Right? America maintained a dollar store for years. You know, dollar store again, you know, dollar had. Yeah. So that show you, you know, even the American economy is being touched.
Compensate for the rise in gas, you know.
But you see, them capitalists is also genuine, because we know that COVID would give you an economic fallout, but now they can blame the war in rising the prices to make up back for their economic fallout. So, you know, we know how much of a general Esau is. But my people, be comforted. All that is happening here is not for you.
Right.
It's not for your destruction. It's for Esau's destruction. You know what is your destruction? You not coming into the truth.
Right.
You need to come into the truth so that these things that are happening can pass by you.
Right.
This is your salvation. And this is the way that we can comfort you with these words. Come into the truth and you'll be protected from these. Right? Without telling us to come in the truth and we're protected from high prices. No, it's bigger than that. This which is happening is brewing is larger than high prices. It's leading up to other things. The food shortage is on its way. Like I mentioned earlier, you knock out Ukraine, who was probably about the third. Russia and Ukraine combined is more than a third the world's grain. Russia still having grain, can export, but you ban the export. Right? Mm-hmm. Even though probably them still buy it under the quiet. Buy it same way about black market. Then probably buying it under the quiet same way. Right. Because them still here in Jamaica doing business. So if they're still there in Jamaica, them still there elsewhere too. Right. Mm-hmm. There's nothing changing in Jamaica. Well, that's nothing changed. Russian them still there, man. And the Prime Minister make a bold statement. He's smart. Now I realize that statement they make is a little bit of politics. A whole lot of politics. I mean, I say, hello, shut your mouth, it's not your business. But by making that statement without biting, I mean, you shut down a big refinery there about here, you know. You shut it down and you know much Jamaicans out of a job. And the Russians have put out a job, you know. And Jamaicans, you know. Can you afford to do that? Yeah. If America can afford to do it, how we must afford to do it.
So that means that these countries will say, all right, we oppose the war and against Russia and then join the sanctions. In reality.
But remember Putin said it earlier in the war, you know. They are watching the actions. You can talk anything you want to talk. Yeah. But why put him in missiles in a state of combat readiness is because, you know, like the talk from the West. Yeah, the bad man talk when I come against me. Talk all don't want to talk about sanctions, but we're going to watch actions when it comes to sanctions. And so far, the war has made them paying up more than what they used to pay up. And who used to owe money, especially the former Soviet state, them that is in NATO, used to owe money. They fuck it up, man. Fuck up the money. So you Israelites, your comfort is to come into the truth. We can't guarantee you no other comfort. You come in the truth. And those are you who is in the truth and decide otherwise. Why? You know, it's your destruction. Right. You think the streets is more comfortable? Well, the streets don't love nobody. The streets don't love anybody. You remember that? Right? And the streets, the lessons on the street is tough. Right. And there's no brotherhood on the street. Right. So sorry for you. Anyways, questions? No questions. Let me see if there's any online. All right. So, question? All right, so no question, pass the class to Police and Officer Kayadwan.
All right, clap it up. So, where the security. All right, these are the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, and the commanding General YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, there are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, you can find this in the book of Numbers chapter 18 and verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3 verse 8 to 10, means tenth in the Hebrew and is pronounced ma'asher. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you'd like to give. Upcoming holy convocation, that is the Feast of First Fruits. It starts after the Sabbath, unleavened bread, sundown, Saturday, April 23rd. Count 50 days. It's like you celebrate the 50th day. It is on Sunday, June so the 50th day is on Sunday, June the 12th. You know what I mean? And it starts before sundown. You can find this in the book of Leviticus chapter 23, verse 10 to 22. That's right. That's one right.
What time is it?
Yeah, let me see.
Which are the
Starts before sundown.
What is the date on it?
The date is June the 12th. I think that is the 50th day after.
2022.
This year. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know.
Okay. Minding Akiam and Aquatium to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and material. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he's to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, we say I Madium, which means to stand. Sar, which means turn. Wapanya Aquadam, which means turn and face the east. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew and then in English. Abanawa, Shabba Shamaya, Kodash, Aya, Shamka, Yahawa, Malakwatka, Taba'a, Ratazaka, Aya, Aisha, Maharataza, Kawa, Aya, Washamaya, Nathanlanawa, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalaklanawa, Kawabwat Nawa, Kasalat Nawa, Kawabwat Yanawa, Wala'a, Tabaya Anawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Awashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwat, Wa'ala, Watapara, La'aiwalamya.
Amen. In English, our Father which art in heaven.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And glory.
Forever.
Forever.
So be it. Amen.
So be it. Amen.
Prayer for the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction.
Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
That speak against us.
That speak against us.
Thy prophets.
Thy prophets.
Teachers.
Teachers.
Princes.
Princes.
Priests.
Priests.
The Israelite brothers and the school.
The Israelite brothers and the school.
Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen.
Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen.
And shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel.
And shake loose the treasures of the rich of Israel.
That refuse to give to the school.
That refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches to enter into their sanctuary.
Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the Edomites.
Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the Edomites.
and the nations,
and
their drug dealers,
the
court system,
system,
the prison system,
system,
Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, Skinheads, Posse Comitazi, Gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space programs, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet and the airways, the cable access channel, and the radio channel, convict the spirit of any of thy people, that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen, that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words, throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro, through the earth, and consume them. Let the plague shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahweh Shai, Michael and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers, and punish all the heathen, that come up against us, as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all, that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media, throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you always so be.
In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you always so be. All right, this is the prayer for the poor in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Babakosha, Natanlanawa, Akak, Larapa'a, Kalmakala, Wakal Madawa, Akak, Lata'a, Amatazaraya, Akak, La Akwaya, Amathia, Akak, Irakawa, Atamala, Nagarasha, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, THAWADAH.
In English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai.
Please give us the power. Power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
The power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean spirits.
To cast them out in the name of Yahweh Shai.
To cast them out in the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you so be.
Thank you so be. All right, this is the prayer for the blessings in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Baraklanawa, Wayasharala, Wa'a, Bayatsaparia, Barak, Rapa'a, Magan, Hagan, Commanding General Yahanna, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, the young men and the sisters, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai,
THAWADAH. In English, what we have just said, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless us and Israel and the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones in the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you so much.
All right, so we're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel. Men of Israel, Imadium Shabbat, Imadium, Barak, Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Yadamata. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, turn and face the sister. Men of Israel, Imadium Shabbat, Imadium, Barak, Yahweh Shema Alatan Ba'asham Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shema Alatan Ba'asham Yahweh Shai.
Yadamata, class dismissed.
Right. To our online viewers, remember to like, subscribe, share our videos. Remember to fill out the, they call it again,
sign up sheet.
The sign-in sheet. It's in the description. I won't post it. I'll find it and post it. Right, before you log off, remember to fill out the sign-in sheet. There it is. To show that you did attend the class. It counts in your 90 days to you getting your Hebrew name. So it's important that you do so. All right. Until we meet again. All right, let me see which video I can play now. Or should play Angry Black Man. Here's it. Angry Black Man. No, why didn't I see all these songs before the go? Man, I would have to search for this brother, man. Last night, the first me hearing it. Right. All right. So until what? Tuesday, no? Tuesday, our next class. Yeah. We say shalom. Take care.
If you ain't angry by oppression, if you ain't angry about 400 years of getting killed, that don't make you fucking question. If you ain't angry about no justice, if you ain't tired of seeing your people suffering with no power to do nothing. Brother got his head cut off down in Mississippi. Another brother got choked out just for fucking pissing. You niggas need to listen. I just showed y'all the vision from past to present, and we still in the same condition. I blame the white man, but I blame you coons too. Steve Harvey, bitch ass, and this whole morning crew. What about Wycliffe with the hated just to help? Cherry my ass, nigga, you left with all the damn loot. Nigga, you Haitian too. That 16 million you took was water and food. You cock outside of Lugaou. Now you niggas see. Tell them cheap suck G. Don't never ask me why I'm motherfucking angry. Even though they holding hands, claiming to be best friends, they still hate you in the end. Angry black man. I ain't dying for no white man fighting in Afghanistan. So fuck being a veteran. Angry black man. Fuck your wives, fuck your kids, and fuck your men. And fuck trying to be American. Angry black man. I ain't talking to myself, I'm praying for revenge. So until that day you won't see a grin. Angry black man. Bumba Claude, Ross Claude, Batty Boy, Pussy Hole. They walk on lightning and thunder. Babylon. Fireburn, Babylon, Mineron, Fussy hold me when no rumper. Fuck peace. I won't smile to make you feel at ease. And I won't sound like you to make you hire me. And I won't bow down, I'd rather die free. Angry black man is immune to John 3:16. So boots, beards, braids, check. Angry black men threat. They rather see you in a dress. So you can't defend yourself. 400 years, 400 tears, 400 rape, 400 kill, 400 blood, 400 spill, 400 live, 400 real, 400 watch, 400 film, 400 rob, 400 steal, 400 years of dealing with your crimes. Your end is nil. So we supposed to stay quiet while y'all bust our heads open wide. You motherfuckers out your damn minds. The Bible told me the white man is the problem. God ain't never lied. Every iota of a crop. Even though they holding hands, claiming to be best friends, they still hate you in the end. Angry black man. I ain't dying for no white man fighting in Afghanistan. So fuck being a veteran. Angry black man. Fuck your wives, fuck your kids, and fuck your men. And fuck trying to be American. Angry black man. I ain't talking to myself, I'm praying for revenge. So until that day you won't see a grin. If you ain't angry about oppression, if you ain't angry about 400 years of getting killed, that don't make you fucking question. If you ain't angry about no justice, if you ain't tired of seeing your people suffering with no power to do nothing. Brother got his head cut off down in Mississippi. Another brother got choked out just for fucking pissing. You niggas need to listen. I just showed y'all the vision from past to present, and we still in the same condition. I blame the white man, but I blame you coons too. Steve Harvey, bitch ass, and this whole morning crew. What about Wycliffe with the hated just to help? Cherry my ass, nigga, you left with all the damn loot. Nigga, you Haitian too. That 16 million you took was water and food. You cock outside of Lugaoo. Now you niggas see. Tell them Chief suck G. Don't never ask me why I'm motherfucking angry. Even though they holding hands, claiming to be best friends, they still hate you in the end. Angry black man. I ain't dying for no white man fighting in Afghanistan. So fuck being a veteran. Angry black man. Fuck your wives, fuck your kids, and fuck your men, and fuck trying to be American. Angry black man. I ain't talking to myself, I'm praying for revenge. So until that day you won't see a grin. Angry black man. Bumba Claude, Ross Claude, Batty Boy, Pussy Hole. They will go on lightning and thunder. Babylon, Fireburn, Babylon, Mineron. Fussy Hole, me when no ramper. Fuck peace. I won't smile to make you feel at ease. And I won't sound like you to make you hire me. And I won't bow down, I'd rather die free. Angry black man is immune to John 3:16. So boots, beards, braids, check. Angry black men threat. They rather see you in a dress. So you can't defend yourself. 400 years, 400 tears, 400 rape, 400 kill, 400 blood, 400 spill, 400 live, 400 real, 400 watch, 400 film, 400 rob, 400 steal, 400 years of dealing with your crimes. Your end is nil. So we supposed to stay quiet while y'all bust our heads open wide. You motherfuckers out your damn minds. The Bible told me the white man is the problem. God ain't never lied. Every iota of a crop. Even though they holding hands, claiming to be best friends, they still hate you in the end. Angry black man. I ain't dying for no white man fighting in Afghanistan. So fuck being a veteran. Angry black man. Fuck your wives, fuck your kids, and fuck your men, and fuck trying to be American. Angry black man. I ain't talking to myself, I'm praying for revenge. So until that day you won't see a grin. Angry black man.